Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Talk of the Town. My name is Marc Garrett, and I'm guest hosting tonight for Karen Bukes, who on October 8th, 2014 is celebrating her birthday and decided that she was going to relax tonight. So a hearty happy birthday to Karen this evening, and hope she's enjoying herself. We're here tonight, we're speaking on a topic which is very near and dear to a lot of us, and it's about education in the town of Plymouth. And we're going to be talking about the Plymouth Education Foundation. This evening I have Lauren Bakken, who's the treasurer, of the foundation, and Anthony Shenna, former selectman, former Finance Committee Chair, who is the Vice President. Lauren also serves as President of the Chamber of Commerce. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the underwriters and sponsors of the program: Cape Auto Body, Kevin and David Gallerani, Brewster PC Solutions, Trifletti and Costa, and Jeff Cohen and One Stop Painting. Thank you for your support for the show over the years. It's made a big difference in the quality of this presentation. Again, this evening, we're talking about the Plymouth Education Foundation and the Plymouth Alumni Association. My two guests are very involved in both, and I'd like to start with Lauren. Welcome.
Thank you.
And could you give us a little discussion on what the Plymouth Education Foundation is, how it came about, and what is its mission?
Okay. Well, the Plymouth Foundation was founded in December of 2008, and it was a idea of Linda McAuliffe, who was a teacher and also on the school committee, and she put together a 5-person founding director board, and that was Linda, Bob Betters, Barry Haskell, Adele Manfredi, and myself. And it took us a couple of years to get the bylaws written and our mission and the vision and where we were headed in order for us to kind of come out. It took us a couple of years. So it was 2010 when we started to do some fundraising. And basically our mission is to solicit, manage, and to distribute funds for education programs and for activities that probably wouldn't be funded by the schools.
And that would be things that also would not be necessarily funded by town meeting, because ultimately
Right.
school education funding comes through the town budget and has to be approved. And these were things that are valuable from an education perspective, but when you're putting together a budget, things get sacrificed to comply with the budgetary constraints. And so I think that, and I'm a new person on the board, and my understanding of that mission is to facilitate where we can the education of not only students, our faculty members, but also citizens at large in the town of Plymouth. I mean, because learning literally should continue throughout your entire life, and a senior citizen can and is willing to learn as well as a school-age child.
Yeah, I would just say, Mark, some of, I think, the best grants that the Education Foundation has given out have actually been non-school related. We've done some great work with the Chamber of Commerce for a college jumpstart program, which basically gives kids who may not be going to college an opportunity to get certificates as EMTs, to do some kind of non-college programs. We also did, with Dinah O'Brien, a great literacy program at the library for mothers with young children. So it's not just school specific, it's really Plymouth education across the board.
That's right. But we also include the schools. We underwrote a portion of the purchase of some iPads for the math department of Plymouth South for students and their learning. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is now the watchword in education, from higher education down through secondary education, and frankly down into the middle schools and the elementaries also. So they're pushing the STEM to make us more competitive in the marketplace, to make Americans more competitive in the marketplace, and these things cost money. I mean, to catch up. So I think it's a great thing that we're trying to do as a foundation to assist with the education of the population of the town of Plymouth, the citizens of Plymouth. And education is not a bad thing, and it's an investment we should be making, and it doesn't always have to be just public dollars. I mean, the underwriting, private foundations and the like are very, very important. As a spin-off to the Education Foundation, Anthony, you created, or in part with others, I would assume, the Alumni Association. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, so,
I know you're passionate about it.
Well, I've grown up in Plymouth. We all agree that Plymouth is an amazing place with amazing resources. And what we realized as an education foundation was we had this resource in all of our alumni, all of the people that have gone through school here, that have graduated, and have gone on to other things. And what we found out through this process is our alumni are everywhere, in every field, doing all sorts of terrific things. And we thought it would be a great opportunity for everyone in the community to really organize that resource and to tap into it. So our Alumni Association has been around for just about a year. I think we have over 400 members that have already signed up on PlymouthAlumni.net. So if you are an alumni, please go to that website and sign up. Again, that's PlymouthAlumni.net. And you can go onto that website and you can search all different types of alumni. So if you're a senior at any one of the two high schools and you're interested in going to Bridgewater State, you can go onto that website, search our alumni of individuals that have gone there, and reach out to them and understand what it might be like to go to Plymouth or to go to Bridgewater State. Also, too, we felt that in this economic environment, it was crucial for the resources of all of our alumni to be pooled for the benefit of our alumni in terms of their careers. So if you are interested in a certain field, you can go to our website, you can look up different fields and say, okay, this person is in the area that I'm interested in, and then potentially reach out to them for opportunities in networking and career opportunities. So when you think about how Plymouth schools have gone, whether it's going back to when the high school was at Nathaniel Morton, to Plymouth Carver, to Plymouth South and Plymouth North, and all the graduates that have gone through, if we can pull that resource together, it's really something special, I think, for the community.
It's a great point, and I think we're going to get to where, later on in the show, I hope to get to the point where we discuss how the alumni dovetail with the Education Foundation, and really one supports the other. I mean, we're two entities, a spin-off one from the other, but there is a dovetail and there is an interrelationship and, frankly, an interdependence between the two, which, when realized, will be an incredible value to the community. I should also say that Talk of the Town is a live television show. It is a call-in show. The phone number is 508-830-3971. If you have any questions for any one of us, we would be happy to answer anything about the Plymouth Education Foundation or the Alumni Association. Lauren, the Education Foundation also has a website, and its web address, I believe, is PlymouthEducationFoundation.org. One very long word.
Yes, one very long word. PlymouthEducationFoundation.org.
So if you want information on the foundation, you can certainly go to the webpage, that webpage, to find out information. We're also on Facebook with various addresses. I'm not a Facebook person, so please don't. Hopefully Ken can post them for us, but I'm not a Facebook person, so I'm not even going to get into all the ways you can communicate with us. We've touched on a few projects that we have funded in the past, and I know you have, both you and Anthony have a list. Could you enlighten the audience a little as to some of the other projects that we've done or underwritten?
Yep. Well, we have given a scholarship for the culinary arts 3 years in a row. We funded a music trip for Plymouth North High School, an adult literacy program from the library. We had an author, a children's author, come to the library to speak to the kids about, he wrote about puzzles and things, and that was very interesting. We also give a scholarship for the Abadi Scholarship once every year. We've funded a science project for a girl to go to, I think it was Canada, for, she had won a science project, and she went beyond to the next level, and we funded her airfare and her travel to go there. We've funded a music immersion program with the public schools, a robotics program. Let's see, you mentioned the iPads, which was very interesting. Two teachers wanted to kind of incorporate the iPads into their curriculum. So that was interesting. Let's see, we funded a what is that called? A metaphone? I don't know what it was.
Metallophone, I think.
Metallophone. Yeah, I don't even know what kind of instrument that is, but it was something that was needed at South Elementary. One boy wanted to go to a weather conference, so we gave him a little bit of money for that. And then, as Anthony had mentioned, the College Jumpstart program, which is through the Chamber of Commerce, and we've funded that 2 years in a row. And that provides a certificate program. There's the EMT, they did the veterinary assistant one year also. And then just recently, we gave the Pilgrim Hall Museum some money for the Marine Museum's Rare Books program. So those are just some of the things that we have funded. So we take applications 2 times a year, once in November and then once in March. And then we award, based on our funds, what we've gotten in for the year, in January, by January 1st, and then by May 1st. And people can go to our website and download the application and find out more about it there.
And also, I think we should note that, especially for the school programs, there is a lot of interaction between the foundation and the school department as to their, how should I put it, their value that they place on an application. Sometimes it's something that is very valued, but they just can't fund it. And so we get feedback from them so that if it's something important and our collective knowledge doesn't trip our thought process, but if it is supported by the school department, we certainly take that into consideration. So we don't work in an isolation. We're working with the library, with the schools, with the public sector departments that work in education, whatever format it is, to get their inputs and to support where we can a lot of these programs.
Yeah, what I would say is we really want to get the word out to the teachers and to the faculty and to the community as a whole that we do have money and we do want people to fill out applications. When they come from the school side, there is a process where they need to be signed off. Those projects need to be signed off by their division heads, because what we don't want is for a teacher to come and ask us for, say, a computer that's not compatible with the rest of the school's programs.
Right.
So there is a process from the school side that if a teacher does have something that they're excited about that they think the foundation could fund, they go through the proper channels, they get signed off, and by the time it comes to us, we know that it's appropriate for the school district. Everyone else who has a need when it comes to education should really be looking at that application, filling that out, and getting it to us, because we really do want those applications to be coming in, because we do have money, and we've been very fortunate with the fundraisers that we've done. Our largest fundraiser is the Valentine's Day fundraiser, and it's been very successful. We have money, and we've been fortunate to also have some very generous endowments that have been given to us, and so there's money there, and we really want the teachers and the community to know to get to the website, fill out the application. They have till November 1st for this particular go-around. The more applications we get, the better it is.
And that's really a plea to the teachers, the faculty, the students, and anyone who is endeavoring to broaden their education. the application process is there. We can manage money forever if we have to, but that's not our job. What our job is to manage money to be able to invest in part or in total, depending on the amounts, and help underwrite some of these programs. And everybody understands. I referred to STEM earlier. The costs of these are going up, and it's not always going to be a taxpayer fund that's going to pay for these things. So we have the ability, and we thank the people who have contributed, whether it's been large sums of money or small sums of money, incremental donations. It all counts, and it's all important, and it's all managed through an investment program and through our budgetary allocations to turn this money around and get it back to the students, to the faculty, to the public that wants to learn as efficiently as we can. And the more donations we get, the more we can build on that money, that endowment, and be able to have a program that is perpetual. We don't want to be, as Barry Haskell says, we don't want to constantly have bake sales to fund something. Yeah. We want to be able to create a pool of money that begins to work. I don't want to say work for us, but work for the public as a secondary supplemental funding mechanism. And I think that's what it is, and what we try to do.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a good segue to tie in some of what we're doing with the alumni, with the foundation, in that we want people to have a mechanism that went through Plymouth Public Schools, really got something from it, to then say, if I'm leaving money to the schools, or if I want to give back, or if I want to put it in my estate, how do I do that? And really, the Education Foundation is the mechanism that is in place to do that. If there's a story a couple years ago, and Barry Haskell tells the story all the time, that there was a school committee meeting where, and I won't get into the names, but basically someone showed up at the school committee meeting and said, I have $2 million from a client of mine who passed away. What do we do with it? And the town didn't have a mechanism to really do anything with that money efficiently, and it basically went into the town treasury. Now they keep track of it, and it's part of the overall budget, but there's much better ways to handle that, and the foundation was created as part of a feedback to that particular issue. Going forward, the foundation is the place where that type of money should come and then be able to be doled out based on what's most appropriate for education across the whole town.
And I think it's pretty clear that Plymouth buys into education and funding education. We are building schools. Yep. We are building state-of-the-art schools. We are maintaining. I think it's a wonderful thing that Nathaniel Morton and the Hedge School won over 100 and won, if not over, real close. These are still very functional schools. And I was listening to the Board of Selectmen last evening, and they were talking about something about building. I think it was the responsible contractor discussion they were having. And somebody somebody from Plymouth, England, who was visiting recently, a delegation from Plymouth, England, made a comment to members of our Board of Selectmen how wonderful it is the way we reuse buildings. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about Nathaniel Morton and Hedge specifically, and also 11 Lincoln Street. And to the best of their abilities, we do reuse them. Unfortunately, sometimes life outgrows their usefulness, but we have invested in education, and we've invested in the mortars, the bricks, and everything else. We need to continue that philosophy, and I think we do to a great extent. But we need to continue investing in the intellectual property, because that's really critical. Because that's what makes the student, that's what makes the person whole and productive. Can you, Lauren? Since you're the treasurer, you deal with a lot of the spreadsheets and the numbers. Can you speak a little bit to, the kinds of funding we have? I mean, we talk about endowments, we talk about contributions and things of that. Mm-hmm. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We're talking about endowment, and I know a lot of people probably don't know what that means. What we want to do is be able to raise our goal is $1 million, and have that in an endowment fund. That means it never gets touched. It means that it stays, we will invest it wisely and safely, and it will grow. And we will use the income for our programs, for our grants and all, but we're...
The interest income.
The interest income, but not the principal. So that then the foundation will continue in perpetuity. But we also would like individuals and businesses and estates and trusts in order to donate their income to. And we would build that endowment, but we'll also use some of that income for our programs. So we're looking for contributions from anybody, and as it could be for the Valentine Gala, for the silent auction and the live auction, or it can just be sponsorships for those. We ask for sponsorships for the Valentine Gala, and estates and trusts. People are looking for good, sound places to leave their money to, and we're looking for that also.
If you think about successful educational institutions, if you think of the Harvards, the Yales, and then if you think of even at the high school level, the Belmont Hills and the BC Highs, they have large endowments. It allows you as an educator to do so much. Right. And that's where my passion comes from. I have friends of mine that have gone to some of these private high schools. I see what they do and how it benefits the students, and then ultimately benefits those students as adults. And I think that's something that Plymouth can put together and can be. There are not a lot of public endowments like what we're talking about. There's not a lot of public school alumni associations like what we're trying to do. If we can kind of be the trailblazer to do that, I think it's a model that will work well for a lot of public institutions, and ultimately for communities that will then be able to leverage that association or the foundation to do more in their community, and that ultimately benefits everybody.
Let's speak a little bit about the Alumni Association. We've talked about what you're trying to accomplish, and it's a very noble goal, very noble objectives. But as you and I have spoken in the past, there are certain complexities that Plymouth presents relative to achieving those goals, and I think again it's a plea to the alumni to assist, because over the past, let's say, 70 years, we have high school graduates in Plymouth who have graduated from a variety of different high schools and a variety of different names. We had Nathaniel Morton. We had Plymouth High School. We had Plymouth Carver Regional. We had Plymouth High School Redux. We have Plymouth North. We have Plymouth South. They all get diplomas from the school department and the school committee of the town of Plymouth, however, or a regional school department or in school administration. But they're all Plymouth, or a good portion of them are Plymouth high school graduates. And one may say, well, I'm a Nathaniel Morton graduate, I'm a Plymouth graduate, and we don't quite see eye to eye. But from our standpoint and from the town, they're really all Plymouth high school graduates. And the reason I'm asking the question, and I think you know where I'm going with this, is in trying to create your database and trying to create your membership, if you will, you can't. It's not going to one source of data. It's going to 6 or 5, whatever the case may be, to try to get that data together. Can you speak to the complexity / headaches of that task? Yeah.
So I like to think that Plymouth's complexity is also its greatest strength. That ultimately having all of these high schools over time allows us to have a pretty deep, intellectual, broad alumni network. But you're right, over the years, we've really have not collected all of this data in a meaningful way. And there are privacy rules, right? So the school is not able to just release this data, but there are opportunities for us to collect this data. And we have had tremendous success with working with both principals of Plymouth South and Plymouth North, Patty Fry and Kathleen McSweeney, and we've been able to have them give the seniors of last year's class a card with just some basic information that the state allows alumni associations to collect. Name, email, current address, stuff that's not too personal. That is the first step in now collecting this data in a meaningful way going forward to make sure that as those seniors are switching from seniors to alumni, that we're tracking them and that we're incorporating them in the database. But our biggest challenge is, in this day and age, I think people are inundated with signing up for this or being on this email list, and they have to really see the benefit. They have to understand, what do I get for this, or what am I at risk of getting from you, right? Which a lot of time we get. How many times are you going to email me? Are you going to ask me for money? Those are all the negative things. I think that the positives far outweigh anything, and at this point, we're not interested in money. We're really just interested in tapping into that resource. So we're working very close with the school superintendent to figure out how do we collect all the old data. We're reaching out to alumni from those different colleges, to different high schools, to try to get them involved, because as you know, Facebook is actually a great tool for us, where a lot of our alumni are staying in touch with one another via Facebook. We just want to know where they are and what they're doing. As we talk about what we're going to be able to do, reunions is a big one. It is very difficult for people to get reunions nowadays and to put them together and organize them. If you could come to the Alumni Association and say, listen, do me a favor, will you send me a list of all of the graduates from 92 or 76, and we have updated numbers and addresses, reunions will be a lot easier for those people who are trying to run them. So the complexity is there, but I think, again, that's our biggest strength when it comes to what we could eventually create with the Alumni Association. And again, anybody who is an alumni or is a current senior, go to PlymouthAlumni.net. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. You'll log in. You'll fill out some profile information about what you were interested in, what you did in high school. You'll get an email from us, and then you can log in and search our database for whatever it is that you're looking for.
Before we go on, again, I just want to say that this is a live call-in show. The phone number is 508-830-3971. And if you have any questions for Anthony, Lauren, or myself, we'd be more than happy to answer them if we can, or we'll certainly look into finding out the answer to the question. One of the great things about learning is knowing what you don't know and knowing where to go to find out what you may need to know. So hopefully we have most, if not all, the answers, but if we don't, we'll certainly figure out a way to find out. Lauren, something that we haven't mentioned is that the foundation is a 501c3.
Yes.
Can you explain that a little bit to the folks who might not understand what that means?
Sure. That means that it's a non-profit, not-for-profit. It means that when you donate to the Plymouth Education Foundation, your donation is tax deductible. And that's the biggest thing about it. Basically, we report to the IRS and to the state. We can fundraise. We can accept donations. But the biggest thing is that when people donate, they can use that as a deduction on their tax return, which is always a good thing.
I bet it is. Let's talk a little bit about our major fundraisers, and we'll talk about the major fundraiser that we've done for quite a few years, and that is the gala, and that's pretty much organized by Nicole Manfredi, with the daughter-in-law to the late Adele Manfredi, who we all knew and respected, and was a part of the beginning, as you had said,
founding director,
as a long-standing school committee member. And the gala is generally around Valentine's Day. It is a Valentine's Day gala, if you will, although I'm not sure if it ever has fallen on Valentine's Day.
It's always the Saturday
but
before.
The Saturday before.
Right.
And let's talk a little bit about what that's all about. I mean, because we get contributions through, you mentioned the silent auction, a live auction, corporate sponsorships. The room is always full of people of various types. And I think one of the things that we want to see of the Education Foundation is we love to see the same faces, but we also
wanna
like to see new faces.
We
We want to see
certainly
new
do.
participation. So can we talk a little bit? You guys have been
Yep.
involved with it more than I have. I was
Sure.
just involved with it for the 1 year. Can we speak a little bit about it?
Yep. Well, it's a black tie option event. It's this first Saturday before Valentine's Day. If it falls on a Valentine's Day, we may have it on Valentine's Day. This year it was our 4th annual. It's a dinner dance, so there's live music, a nice buffet dinner. There is the silent auction. There is the live auction, which is a lot of fun. This past year it was Mike Rothberg and
Mike Rothberg.
Chief Botteri.
He
He didn't do it this year, but he did it the year before. I think that something happened this year. He wasn't able to make it. But it's a lot of fun, and it's a nice night out for Valentine's Day. It gives you a chance to dress up, which we don't get to do much anymore.
Yes, folks, even I dress
Yes.
up. Okay, they get me dolled up for this thing too. So
That's right.
and I survived it.
Yep, and it's been at the Waverly Oaks the last couple of years, and this year it will be at, 2015, it will be at Plymouth, the Pine Hills this year. So we're always looking for silent auction items, so that can be anywhere from a gift certificate to somewhere. You can put together a gift basket. It can be, maybe golf tickets or movie tickets or, a nice photograph or whatever. It's whatever you think would be something that someone would bid on. But it's fun. So the silent auction people go around and they put their bid down on a piece of paper. That's why it's silent. You don't have to sit there and say, and then at the end of the night, whoever is the last one on the sheet is the one that gets that one. And then the live auctions, everybody is sitting there with
Pretty
the paddle.
fun,
You do
yeah.
pretty well there.
I have fun.
Anthony.
It's a great time.
Now we've had some exciting
We have.
live ones.
We have.
We
We
had
had
we had 2 African safaris trips at a safari type club. It's not a resort,
Africa.
but
It was
in
in
Africa. Those were I think the 2 biggest ticket items. But we had some others, tickets to sporting events.
Some great Red Sox tickets. We've had over the years. We've had cooking in the home.
That was the one, right? We had was the Rye Tavern. The chef went into your house and cooked a meal for you and a group of dinner party guests. And they set up, they cleaned up, they did the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, that one everybody loves every year. And the other big thing we do that night is the Adele Manfredi
That's
Lifetime
right.
in Education Award, and that's where we recognize someone in the community that has really dedicated their life to education, and that's obviously out of respect for Adele, who has been a lifelong kind of pillar in the community when it comes to education.
Well, I think Adele has been a model to community service, because not only was she involved in the school committee, I am happy to say that I sit on a planning board that she once sat on. She was incredibly involved, and I always think about community service and being involved. We all live fairly comfortable lives here in these United States. Yeah, we argue, we debate, we have our disagreements, but things are pretty good for most of us. And part of that is a lot of folks have gone before us to make it good, whether it's military service, community service, educators, and the like. And I always think that to me is a very noble award. A, because the person it's named for, because she really was, in my opinion, one of the greats in community service to this community of Plymouth. And I cherish the fact that I knew her personally. So I think that's a wonderful award, and I think the people who receive it are very moved by the fact that they're receiving that particular award.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another thing we're going to be doing this year is the annual appeal, the annual gift, which we have not done that yet, but we'll be rolling that out this year, and hopefully we can get support for that from not only the private sector, the citizenry, I should say, but the corporate sector in this town. And I know we have all been out and about marching the name, the Plymouth Education Foundation and the Alumni Association out there, and we're going to continue to do that because that's the evolution of where we're going. We want to be an integral, vital part of what happens in this community, and not just a logo that you see once in a while. There's something really meaningful for what we're doing. Anthony, tying us back a little bit to the Alumni Association, we have all of these alumni scattered all over the world, literally, in various careers, vocations, various advocations, who are doing some really wonderful things and are successful at what they're doing. And they can assist or give back to their community through the Alumni Association in many ways, whether it's coming to career forum or assisting, mentoring a student in a project. Can you speak to some of those things?
Yeah, so when we first started the Alumni Association, we reached out to the principals of both schools and said, how can we help? What could the Alumni Association do that would be helpful to you, to your guidance counselors? What can we do? And the first thing that came to mind was that they need mentors. They have senior projects that the seniors do at both North and South. And as part of that, it's real life experience with a mentor. There's certain time requirements from that mentor, but they've had a very difficult time getting mentors to commit and to stay involved and to really work with these kids. So we'd like to have our alumni do that, to literally reach out to the alumni that are in those different fields that the kids may be doing their senior project on, and have a mentor commit to that. So that's one way that you definitely could help. The other way is to be available to talk to these kids about colleges or careers. So we have a great technical studies program at both South and North. A lot of people don't realize that there are technical studies at North. And those kids have to understand what the career path is for them, whether they're getting out to become an electrician, a plumber, the nursing program at North. And we'd like to have our alumni be able to talk to them so that when they do graduate, they have some direction and someone that they can relate to that may have had very similar experiences to what they were going through. And then obviously there's the military aspect. So if our students aren't going into college and they're not going into career, many of them are going into the service. We'd like to have our alumni that have gone to the different branches and come back and speak to those students so that they understand what it is and that they don't go into that not knowing what to expect. If we could do that alone, I think that would allow our seniors to be making some very informed decisions and ultimately put them in very good positions. And again, that's not hard, right? If people sign up and they're willing to give a couple of minutes to these seniors, that's really all they need. And I don't know how you were, but when I graduated from high school, I could have used a lot of direction.
Well, we see it today.
And we don't want anyone calling in about that. I mean, I haven't heard any of those stories.
We still need some direction. I know that. But no, I as a adjunct faculty member at Bridgewater State, I get students in both the computer sciences and in the earth sciences who come in and are being asked at 18 years old to make decisions for the rest of their lives. And I can tell you, I'm 57 years old right now. I graduated high school in New Jersey in 1975, and I was asked then to make a decision. And I think I'm a rare commodity because I knew what I wanted to do at 18, and I'm still doing it.
It's a good thing.
And
That's
you know,
a gift.
and at 50, I thought about this, and I said, you know, if there's anybody to blame, it's you. You know, you designed this program, and you know, you went forward, and yes, I'm fairly successful at it, professionally and advocationally. You know, I'm very pleased with it. However, it was hard for us back in '75 to do it, and I can't even begin to imagine with the stimulation that our youth are getting today and the amount of information that they're being bombarded with, how they can make these decisions. I may have shared this with you once, but I graduated from the University of Bridgeport with my bachelor's degree, and my class was 32 students in my degree major. There are only 2 of us who are still working in the degree major.
Yeah.
And I happen to know that because we were both friends in college, and we're still in contact now. And the other friends that we had from our degree major, they're out doing other things, you know, probably making more money than us, but, you know, they're happy, but they were not biologists. You know, that's what they tried to do, and they did it for a little while, but they kind of went out and did their other things. And to me, I think it's so important that if you have the marine scientist or the person in the military who comes back and can sit down with the kids and say, this is the way it is, because we teach very theoretically in school. Everything is bench top, it's under control. You take that same application and bring it outside. You've introduced the variables of weather,
Right.
the variables of what's going on around you, because it's not 4 walls, it's not controlled environment. So, you know, and there are different things, and it's not as sophisticated as it seems, you know, and the lack of sophistication adds a complexity to the doing.
Yeah, and I would add, so we're focused on the students, right, and how our alumni can help our students. But I think there's enormous opportunity in this economic environment for our alumni to help fellow alumni. For our businesses that are in Plymouth. We have a lot of businesses, and Lauren can speak to this as a member of the chamber, who are alumni, who have gone through the Plymouth school system and have established their business here. They're looking for good employees, and if we can get them in touch with fellow alumni, that's obviously an opportunity. Parents, I think the parents of a lot of these children or alumni have stayed, even though their children may have graduated and moved on. We can help them. So we focus mainly on the students, but there really is an opportunity for our alumni to be talking to alumni, our students to be talking to alumni, businesses that are in the community. It really has an opportunity to spread far and wide. One of the things that we're doing, as an example, is Coach Fry, the football coach down at South, has a race every year. A lot of people probably know it, the Fry Road Race. It's actually coming up on the 19th, October 19th. And between Coach Fry and the Plymouth South Boosters Club, what they've said is if we get the alumni involved, whichever class raises the most money at that race, they will give some of the proceeds for a scholarship in that class's name to be given both at North and South. So you can see with something like that, even a road race, if we can get the email out to 400 alumni or to all of our thousands of alumni that may still be here that haven't signed up and get that road race, it's more money both for the foundation, for the school system, for the Fry Scholarship, for the booster clubs. The possibilities are endless, and that's why I get excited about it, because I really do think it's a resource that's untapped.
And the end outcome is more money for the students.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, at those scholarship award presentations that occur in May of every school year at North and South, there are a whole host of scholarships, and they're in increments of $1,000 to $5,000. And no, they don't pay for an entire college education. but they are, excuse the parlance, damn helpful. You know,
Yeah,
they
every
really
little bit
are.
helps.
I can speak personally, Mark. I mean, my son graduated last year. We were at that scholarship award night. I think the foundation and the Alumni Association are both talking about sponsoring a scholarship
Yep.
for North and South for that night. And again, you're right. It doesn't. He's going to Northeastern in January, but it didn't pay for everything. But it really is helpful. And there's so many of them that a lot of these seniors are getting some help. Right? If it might pay for books, it might pay for something that parents don't have to come up with. It's really vital to the
I have a
success.
senior at Suffolk, business major. She's buying textbooks that are $370.
Right.
And you know, I mean, you could get into the whole business of textbooks and the business, the money making that the publishers and the authors get. But these things are really expensive. So a $1,000 scholarship may pay for a term, or maybe a little more than a term, of textbooks if they're smart and they get used books or whatever the case may be. So it does come into play, and it is really important. And for those who are not yet in the realm of college students and financing that, you find that any amount of money is definitely valued and worth its weight in helping the students along. So I think it's very critical. And again, bringing this back, the foundation is about fundraising and allocating funds towards education. The Alumni Association, a piece of that. It's all about money, and everything is about money in what we do. And if we value education the way Plymouth seems to, by virtue of its history and what it has done, it's only going to get more expensive and more complex for these kids to, whatever their endeavors are. And it doesn't have to be traditional. I mean, we've talked a lot about traditional education, but we go back to the Jumpstart program, which those are not traditional. The EMT or vet tech is not traditional, baccalaureate education. But it is. You need vet techs, you need EMTs, and at the end of the day, a great EMT is as valuable as a great professor or a great engineer or a great salesman. The niche is needed to be filled, and we need folks to do it. So that is hugely important.
What's good about that Jumpstart program is that it's for kids in high school that are graduating but may not be going to secondary school. They're basically lost in the system,
Right.
and they would just go out and just get a job anywhere. And this gives them a little bit of a skill, something that they can use and make a little bit more money than if they were just working retail or something.
And the interesting thing that happens is, and I find this with my students, is that the young students in many cases are overwhelmed, and it's not their fault. Again, they're just being bombarded by stimulation. And there are various programs out there. There's what is it called, the SKIP program, where they take a year off and they go to Europe and they work for a year before they come back. Those first 2 years, that 18, 19-year-old, you really do make some transitions, because you realize that you're more grown up than you think you were, but you're not as grown up as you think you are. And you really start to begin to figure things out. And the person who goes and gets a certificate in vet tech, okay, may become a great veterinarian someday, but would not have made the decision at 18 to say, I'm going to go to school and major in whatever for 4 years, and then I'm going to battle my way through, hopefully I get into one of the few vet schools in the country and battle my way through. Well, all of a sudden you get this certificate, you do a couple of years, and you say, wow, this is really cool, but I'd like to make more money. I think I want to be a vet. And you've got some experience, and there's book smarts and there is the College of Hard Knocks. There's the experience you learn on the ground.
Yeah.
And neither one is more valuable than the other. They're both very valuable.
I think the foundation would say that we want to support lifelong learning, and that does
That's-
not mean just college.
Great term. Great
That
term.
is
Lifelong.
lifelong learning,
Absolutely.
in whatever form it comes in, and that's what the foundation is really in place to do, is to support that goal.
Again, for everyone, we're getting close to the end here, but it is a live call-in show, 508-830-3971. We have several ways of contacting the foundation and or the Alumni Association. The foundation is PlymouthFoundation.org, one long word.org. And Anthony, I haven't memorized the Alumni Association. You want to run that one?
PlymouthAlumni.net is where they go to register.
Okay. And we're also on Facebook.
On Facebook,
So
yep.
they can
So you can look up Plymouth Public Schools Alumni Association.
and look into it and see what we're about. I mean, we're speaking here for a little less than an hour, trying to encapsulate the whole deal. But on those web pages, you can read about the missions, read about the nexus of how these organizations began, the what's, the whys, the hows, and so on and so forth. In closing, how do you, for both groups, for the foundation and then for the Alumni Association, what are the short-term objectives and what are the long-term objectives? Obviously, the major long-term objective is perpetual existence, perpetual service. What, aside from that, what are the short-term and long-term visions, do you think?
Well, I think for the Alumni Association, we want to continue to get our name out there. We're basically going to start a road show where we're going to go in front of the Board of Selectmen, we're going to go in front of the school committee, we're going to go in front of all the local community groups, the Lions clubs, the Chamber of Commerce, just to get people excited and interesting about this. As you know, when you start an organization like this, it's really about boots on the ground and talking to people. So also short term, I think if you haven't seen it, you should look for it in the Old Colony. We do 2 alumni spotlights. Tara Womer, who's a member of our board, writes 2 articles a month that highlights alumni. So we want to continue to do that. So we're looking for interesting alumni stories. We don't need the most successful, or we don't need these celebrities. We just want down to earth, good Plymouth people and hear their stories so people can get excited about it. The other short term is we have a meeting on October 21st. So October 21st at 6:15, we meet at the Remax building right next to Pioppi's. Everybody's welcome. If you're an alum, if you're a parent of a student, if you're just interested in hearing about what's going on and how you can help, we'd love to have you. Again, that's October 21st at 6:15 at the Remax building. Other than that, just keeping in front of people and really getting out what the benefits are of the Alumni Association and getting people to sign up. It doesn't cost anything. You just sign up, fill out the information. We're not going to bombard you with emails. We'll keep you up to date on important stuff coming from the school superintendent, from the principals of the high school. But ultimately, we just want you to sign up and get onto our database so that you can be a mentor or help some of these career choices that some of these kids may be making, or search for yourself.
And for the foundation?
For the foundation, again, like as Anthony said, we want to get the word out. We want people to know about the Education Foundation, that we're here. Short term, we want to solicit the funds, so we want people to be able to donate to us and know that it's tax deductible. But also we want people to know that we're looking for grant applications so that we can give out some of the money that we do have earmarked already. So
I think the 2 messages that I'm hearing from both my colleagues is that from the Alumni Association, they need membership. They need people involved, and it doesn't cost anything. It's a very inexpensive way to really give back to, I'm assuming, a school system that did pretty well for you. And for the Education Foundation, it's a little bit different in that we're looking for the ability to continue to service the education needs, and there are 2 pieces to that.
Right.
We need the funding, and the funding is an ongoing proposition. It's not you fundraise for 6 months and then, okay, it's something that's going to continue, and we do want to develop that endowment so that it is really perpetual, and we're using interest income to fund and continuing to get interest income on an annual basis. But it's not so much just getting the money. We want to do something with the money, and we can't do it if people aren't applying. And don't be afraid to apply. I mean, we're getting we expect to get applications from regular folks, and that's really what it's all about. I mean, the forms are very simple. State your case, and we'll give it its due consideration.
And I would add, if you have a question or you don't know if the issue that you're bringing up fits, just go onto our website and email us, and we can kind of steer you in the right direction to say, yep, that's something that makes a lot of sense, fill out an application, or that's not really what we do. But I think Lauren's right. Our deadline is November 1st. We'd like to see as many applications as we can.
I don't think we have any.
For this money. I think we might have one or two at this point, and so there's opportunity there, and there's there is money to be handed out for good educational purposes in the town. So November 1st, go to the website. If you have any questions, just contact one of us.
Absolutely, and I think something that we haven't mentioned, but I think we've alluded to it, is I think the foundation and I think the Alumni Association wants to thank Dr. Gary Maestas and the school department, because with all the stuff they're doing in managing facilities and educating our students and making sure the curriculum's right and making sure that the South Project is being designed appropriately within the model school program, they have provided tremendous service to us in their interaction and helping us make some decisions or giving us a sense of direction to go. And you mentioned the two principals being very helpful at North and South for the Alumni Association, and it's really, really critical to understand that this isn't a group over here raising funds, and this isn't a group trying to get membership, and we have the schools over there. This is really an integrated process, an integrated program procedure in which we're all working together, and we are doing it very easily because we're all pretty familiar with each other, but nonetheless there's a great working relationship, and one hand is working to assist the other hand in moving forward. And I think that growth, whether it be membership, financial, is really the key to success, and so on and so forth. We also have, the foundation also has a meet and greet at Mirbeau Spa on the 23rd of October, 6 to 8, correct? So that's coming up, where we are going to thank many of our long-standing contributors and short-term contributors. I mean, we've gotten some great contributions very recently, and we've had some family foundations who have donated over the course of time and are building their little fund within the endowment or within. So we're going to do that. We just want to try to get our message out, or our messages, I should say, out to the Plymouth public, because it's very important. I hear the music chiming in, so I want to again thank you, the viewers, for taking the time to watch Talk of the Town. I want to thank the underwriters, Cape Auto Body Auto Service, Trifletti and Costa, One Stop Painting, and Brewster PC Solutions. Thank my guests, Anthony Shenna and Lauren Bakken, Anthony of the Alumni Association and the Foundation, Lauren Bakken of the Foundation. And as Karen always says, see you in 7. And again, happy birthday, Karen. I hope I kept the seat warm for you. Take care. Thank you.